Welcome to the Library Connection. I'm Tracy Thomas, Assistant Director at the B.B. Comer Library, and we're just so glad that you could join us today. And today, we were going to talk about safe food handling procedures, because at the library right now, we have a lot of people checking out cookbooks. People are in there, getting their grocery lists together and looking for recipes. And we just thought it would be a really nice time of the year to have a guest on today that could talk about how to safely handle your food during the holidays. So today I want to welcome Julie Ledbetter, and Julie is with Fire Truck Barbecue, and we just wanted somebody that handles food on a regular basis that could really address some of those burning questions that we have about what we should and shouldn't do with our food, especially during the holidays when we're going to all kinds of different parties. We're eating at different houses. And so today, Julie is going to help us sort through some of this information. So I really appreciate you coming on and doing this with us.
You're welcome.
So let's first talk about, why you're qualified to talk about safe food handling procedures. And that's because you have a business. You and your husband, Kenneth, have a business called Fire Truck Barbecue. You're based out of Alexander City. And some people may have seen your products in the grocery stores around town, and so it's good for them to see your face too. But I know that when you were setting up your business, it wasn't just, I'm going to decide I'm just going to open a business and go at it. You actually went through the right procedures. You went through the classes. You had to learn a lot of stuff in order to be legitimate.
Yes.
So tell us about that. First of all, how did y'all decide to do a barbecue business?
Well, my husband and I, we were in the advertising. We were both in sales for over 20 plus years, and we were coming to the end of our careers, kind of getting bored. And after the market crashed, we just decided, to do something else. Kenneth was at a trade show, and he saw a cooker on a bus, I believe. I wasn't there at that trade show. And he said, that looks like a good idea. Food trucks were becoming really a big deal, and people were wanting to get in it part-time. And so his little mind got to thinking, and we had already had a fire truck bought to cut down some trees, a ladder truck, and we didn't use it for the end product of one of our trucks anyway. But that's kind of how we got started in the restaurant food truck business. We're not really a restaurant; we're really a food processing company at this time. So.
Well, I know that, and there's a picture of the setup that you have, because when you tell people we've got a fire truck that, cooks barbecue, they kind of have to envision what that's like in their mind. But you really have a great setup, and I think people can see from the pictures that you've invested a lot of time and a lot of money into doing this business the right way. And that's one of the reasons I wanted you to come on today, is because I know that you went through a lot of classes to learn how to do this. You wanted to make sure that it was done the right way. So tell us a little bit about setting it up, learning how to do it.
Okay, you first have to get your ServSafe certified food class every 4 years. They send you a book. You get to study for about a month, and then you go in. It's a whole day class, and then you take the test. And then, if you don't pass, you take it again. And it's really important to take that class, because it teaches you everything about food, temp, safety, how to hold food. Just everything that you want to know about food. And just on a basic, everybody should take the class, or the basic class. They don't have to go in depth with the pathogens and food poisoning and everything about business, but just to take the class of food safety would be good for everybody.
Now, the organization that you took the classes through, did they actually help you once you start setting up your business, or is that on you to find the right equipment, to set your kitchen up the right way?
Yeah, the health department is pretty good about helping you. The USDA guys kind of helped us. There's several people. Of course, Kenneth, is the mastermind of studying. So he got all his manuals out and started studying. And right when we started is when they started, regulations started getting really tough, because so many people were wanting to get a food truck. And so they made it a little bit harder to get a food truck business started. So you really had to do your homework. You had to contain your water correctly, drainage of water. The sinks, you used to get by with a 3-bay sink in your concession trailer for what, but now you have to have a single sink for washing hands, and then one for washing dishes, rinsing, and sanitizing. So it was a process. And
now you also have a kitchen. We're not just talking about just food truck business, but you also have a kitchen where you do catering and different things out of. So tell us, how often are you inspected? What kinds of things are they looking for when they come through?
Let's see, we're inspected now if you are in a higher, if you get a higher grade, I think it's above 90, 95 to 100, I think they come about every 3 months. They just change that. And if you're below that, it could be monthly. It just depends on the business. But they come in and they check everything from the ceiling to the floor to the drains to about anything that you can think of. They're looking for your temperatures on your freezer, your refrigerators. They're looking that every bottle is labeled with the right solution. They're looking at your purse. Your purse cannot be anywhere near food or prepping of food. They're looking at your water temperature. They'll test your water temperature, your cleanliness even in your bathrooms. Your garbage cans, lids, and inside, it's a very detailed check. So
a lot of people say, when I go to a restaurant, I don't necessarily pay any attention to the health score, but from your experience, it's a very valid score.
It is a very valid score, and sometimes can be fair, and it sometimes can't be fair, because say if you had your purse and they came in and it was not in the break room where it was supposed to be, it could be 3 to 5 points taken off your score, which is big. Okay. So, and you can look on the, it has to be in view of the restaurant when you go in. So if you look for that, it's a thing I look at and never used to look at, but you can look, and under the bottom it'll tell if it's from a temp issue, or if it's something minor. So you can make yourself feel better if you read that and say, they just left a minor little detail thing out. It's okay to eat.
If you know how to read it
right.
and interpret
it's
what
very
it says.
easy. Yeah, it's very spelled out. They'll put on there exactly what it was.
Well, I know that there are a lot more things that go along with your business just besides the safety. I know you had to do a lot of research about the best products to buy and the best products to serve. And so I've just watched, in amazement. And I do know, because you're my family, your husband is my cousin, and we've watched in amazement at how the lengths that you've gone to set this up the right way. So that's why I wanted you to come in today and talk to us, because I know you've done a lot of work and a lot of research on this. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Julie is going to share with us some of the ways that you can safely handle your food this holiday season.
What do you see? What do you see now? Hunters are required to wear 144 square inches of hunter orange during Alabama's gun deer season. See the difference? Hunter orange saves lives. Wear it. This message brought to you by the Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources and this station.
Hey y'all, Jim Green from TV47. You can now catch us on the internet. We're streaming live at TV47.tv. All of our great programming, whether it's Daybreak with Jimmy Dale, Matt Coulter, and Around the Track with Matt, or I'll be on with Coosa Valley Magazine, and a whole lot more too, right here at TV47, now at TV47.tv on the internet. Whatever device, you can watch us right there at TV47.tv.
Hi, it's Shawnee McNeil at South First Bank. This is a great time for you to buy or build a new home, or maybe refinance your present mortgage. Our rates are the lowest they've been in years, and that means saving you money. We've been helping our customers become homeowners in this area for nearly 70 years, and we can make our approvals right here in the office, and that means saving you time. We're located here in downtown Sylacauga. Come in and find South First, a better way to bank.
Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Welcome back to the Library Connection. I'm Tracy Thomas, and today our guest is Julie Ledbetter with Fire Truck Barbecue. And Julie has been talking to us about, some of the precautions that you have to take in a commercial kitchen to make sure that everything's safe, it's clean. And since it's the holiday season and people are doing a lot of cooking, they're doing a lot of going to eat at other places, we thought we could talk about some of the ways to keep your food safe and clean. So let's talk about your personal kitchen, Julie. What are some things you can do in your personal kitchen to make sure it's clean?
At your home kitchen?
Yes.
Okay, at your home kitchen, you want to always wash your hands. And they say warm water, but hot water, the hottest that you can stand it is better. 100 degrees, they say. And always for about 20 seconds. And to remember that 20 seconds is just to sing the happy birthday song kind of slow. That'll give you your 20 seconds. And you can always I've started using gloves since I've been in the restaurant business because they're cheap, they're throwaway. You don't have to worry about touching whatever you've touched in between, and just put them on, throw them away, and go to your next. Always still wash your hands in between, but you don't have to worry about it getting under your fingernails and that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit. Gloves are an easy way to protect yourself and your family.
Well, you and I just talked about a few minutes ago about the fact that when you're cooking, some people don't think about everything that they touch.
Exactly.
And you touch a lot of surfaces when you're cooking. If you go over and turn the faucet on to wash your hands, you've touched there. If you do the soap pump, you've touched there. If you open the refrigerator or the stove door, you've touched there. So how did they want you to do that in the business?
In the business, we pretty much have gloves, and we're constantly changing gloves at all times, washing hands. So just think of that at home also. Anything that you do touch, remember it's on your hand. Even if you do the pinky little opening of the refrigerator, it's spreading germs and pathogens very easily. So just I always remember your gloves and washing of your hands for a certain amount of time. Like I said, the hottest water, and sing happy birthday, the long happy birthday, and you've got your 20 seconds covered.
And we know, of course, we've always heard through the years, use a clean cutting board. Wash your cutting board. Use one for vegetables. Use one for meats. That's important. But one of the things that I know that we also talked about earlier was that some people don't wash fruits and vegetables like they should. Can you address that?
Yes, I always wash your fruits and vegetables, especially berries. Just running them under cold water will take out about 90% of the germs. You don't really have to get the spray and wash, vegetable wash that they have. Some people use bleach and let them soak. You will get rid of most of your pathogens and dust just by rinsing in warm water. And going back to the cutting boards, also don't forget to just change out your cutting board. Change out your knife or wash your knife or whatever you're using to prepare when you're using that cutting board.
Well, and there's 4 core principles that they outline with the USDA, and it's clean, separate, cook, and chill. That's the 4 guidelines that they give, and so that's the clean. And then the separate guideline is one that I don't think about a whole lot, and that is like when you're shopping in the store, save your meats, things that might drip, save those things for last, separate those. Talk about that for a minute.
When I go to the grocery store, which I didn't know this till I took all the classes, but you want to keep your meat, and I put my meat in the little plastic bags that they give you at the store because the juices, it keeps the meat from getting in the cart even. They sometimes have to peel it back to scan the price, but still you're covered there. Your vegetables, again, you'll use one of their little plastic bags and keep those separated even in your cart. And when they put them in the bag, they should be separating your meat, your vegetables, your fruits separately in your grocery bags when they bag it. Now people bring their own bags a lot of times. You want to know which is your meat bag and which is separate bags, because you can also grow pathogens there, because I doubt that anybody's going to wash their bags in between. And they do have recyclable bins now that you can bring your bags to, your plastic bags. So That's a good thing.
Well, another, of course, one of the major things about it is cooking, and we know that there are guidelines for temperatures for different types of meat. But some people like their food a little more rare. Some people like their eggs a little more runny. There's always some variables in there.
Yes.
So cooking is the biggest thing. Make sure we
Cooking
know.
in your temp, of course, you want your meat cooked. That's the safest. But there are people that like their steaks rare or just turned over once, or they like their eggs runny. That's personal preference. It's kind of on them if you're ordering it. If you're ordering it at a restaurant, it's a little bit more on the restaurant. If you're doing it at home, you're kind of on your own. So. And if it doesn't bother you, it's okay, you know.
You just
Personal preference.
Personal preference. If somebody orders a steak too rare when I'm eating with them, I have to prop the menu up.
Yeah,
I can't see
definitely.
it. And then another thing, and we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about the chill fourth element there, because I know that sometimes you take something off and it's hot and you're going to store it in the refrigerator. There's always that question, do you put it immediately in the refrigerator? Do you let it sit and get room temperature? So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about that some more.
Hey, Sylacauga! I'm Dr. Gina, and I want you to join me live every weeknight, Monday through Friday, right here on Channel 47 on the world's first social television show. And it's going to be all about you, whether it's presidential politics or Deflategate. If it's trending, we're going to be talking about it. I want you to join me live every Monday through Friday on Channel 47. Don't miss it. America Trends with Dr. Gina, Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. right here on Channel 47. See you then.
Hi, it's Shawnee McNeil at South First Bank. This is a great time for you to buy or build a new home, or maybe refinance your present mortgage. Our rates are the lowest they've been in years, and that means saving you money. We've been helping our customers become homeowners in this area for nearly 70 years, and we can make our approvals right here in the office, and that means saving you time. We're located here in downtown Sylacauga. Come in and find South First, a better way to bank.
Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Hey Birmingham, it's your favorite girlfriend, Ebony Steele, back in my hometown. My show, Coffee with America, is now on WOIL TV 47 4 days a week. Catch me and Sasha Rianda Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 8 a.m. You can also see us Saturdays at 10:30 a.m. We're bringing you the latest in lifestyle, food, entertainment, you name it. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back to the Library Connection. Today we're talking with Julie Ledbetter with Fire Truck Barbecue, and Julie has been telling us some safe food handling guidelines to use during our holiday cooking and just every day. And the question that we talked about before the break was, if you're cooking something and you take it out of the oven and you're not eating it right then, you're maybe preparing meals ahead of time for the week, how long do you need to let that cool before you put it in the refrigerator?
I would let it cool at least, 40 minutes to an hour, depending upon how full your refrigerator is. If you put it in there hot, everything else in the refrigerator is going to take on some of that temp. And it's going to have your temp on your refrigerator off. So I would say at least 40 minutes. If you're going to put it in there just to chill, or if you're just going to put it in there to chill it and you're going to pull it apart to use it for something else, then it's okay to leave it out for an hour or two.
Okay.
So,
and there are some things, let's talk about some things that we can do during the holidays. And one of the big things is thawing meat out. We know people have turkeys, they have hams. How many days to get it out and thaw it in the refrigerator? What if you're one of those people that waits till the day before to go buy a frozen one? How can you safely thaw it? Let's talk about some thawing methods.
okay, thawing, you really want to have it thawed. A turkey's going to take, they say, 3 to 5 days, depending on how big that bird is, because you want to thaw it all the way into the center. So if you do forget to take it out and you're running a little bit late, put it in a tub of cold ice water. You can add ice on top of it. Don't use hot water. The colder the better. And it sounds opposite, but it will thaw it quicker. You can put meat partially frozen and cook it. and it still be okay, but you never want to take out meat and leave it at room temperature and thaw it at room temperature. Pathogens will grow at a rapid pace, so you never want to do that.
Now, if there were some things you wanted to do ahead of time, I know that we talked about maybe, boiling eggs. Maybe you're going to have deviled eggs and you want to go ahead and boil those ahead of time. Mm-hmm. Are those kinds of things safe to do a day or two before?
Yes, and I always Google if I have a question, how long you can hold eggs, how long you can hold certain things, because there's a lot of different guidelines. It depends what you have in, like say a potato salad. Mm-hmm. If you have onion and egg in a potato salad, it's good for 2 to 3 days. Versus, some things are good for 3 to 5. So if you don't remember, you're not cooking it on a regular basis, and it's not fresh in your mind what to do, always Google it and ask to be safe.
And just preparing for this show, I found out the USDA's got some really, really good guidelines on there for food safety. Mm-hmm. Lots of things that I had not thought about. Mm-hmm. One of the things is onions. Let's talk about chopping onions ahead of time, or just cutting an onion ahead of time.
Onions, of course, you've got the smell of onions, but you can chop them. They say to only hold an onion for 1 day. I know a lot of people will hold their onions, they'll slice it. You won't use a whole onion, they'll leave the peel on and slice it. I don't know of anybody that's died from that, but they do say to use an onion or discard the onion. So, use your own discretion with it, but I wouldn't keep it more than 2 days in your refrigerator.
Okay.
And an onion will become a little slimy, if you'll notice.
Yes.
So, and plus making sure that it's wrapped and sealed tight so that it doesn't take on the odor of everything else in the refrigerator.
Which is kind of one of the guidelines for meat, to tell whether meat is bad or not. You can kind of tell changes in the texture, changes in the smell, because we know use-by dates are a guideline.
Right.
It's up to you to know a little bit about how to identify whether or not it's... One of the things you told me one time that helped me so much at Thanksgiving was talking about how to keep meat warm when you have several different things rotating in and out of your oven. I know we had an occasion one time where we had about 12 Boston butts we had to heat up for an event, and you said wrap them tightly in foil after you heat them and put them in a cooler and keep the lid closed.
Right.
And the heat will stay in there. Well, I tried that for Thanksgiving because I had a smoked turkey, a baked turkey, and a ham. And I did that, and I was so surprised that the meat was still hot when we pulled it out a couple of hours later to slice it.
Yes.
So that was a really, really good tip. One of the other things is, let's talk about transporting food to events. If you're taking something somewhere, you take it out of the oven, it's hot, you want it to be hot when you get it there. Utilize the cooler again?
Utilize a cooler. You can use a cooler for hot transporting. You can also use it for cold. If you're bringing a potato salad, or if you're bringing some kind of salad, or anything that needs to be cold. A dessert is good to put it in a cooler. And if you want to keep that, if you're going to put meat in a cooler, again, wrap it in foil, keep it tight, keep the lid on. But you can also put warm water into that cooler to make it warm, because you don't want to. And vice versa with a cooler that you're having to keep something really cold. You can put it in the freezer, refrigerator, or inside the house versus bringing it out from the garage, or where it's already hot, and then you're putting cold, or put ice in it and then put your cold in it. Okay. But always clean your coolers out too before you disinfect them. You know, your coolers before you put your meats in them.
All right.
Or your cools.
One of the things we love about the holidays is the leftovers.
Yes.
So there are some guidelines about leftovers as well. How long is it safe to keep something in the refrigerator? And you mentioned a while ago something like maybe a potato salad that has onions and maybe boiled eggs chopped up in it. You've got to think about that. And then you've got mayonnaise too in there.
Right.
You've got to think about what the ingredients are. Talk about leftovers just for a minute.
Leftover rules are, everybody's kind of different on that, but the rules of the book say 3 to 5 days. If it's a smoked meat, if there's vinegar in it, vinegar is a preservative, so you can hold things in your refrigerator longer if it's got a marinade on it. But general rule, 3 to 5 days. You can stretch it to 7, but usually you've eaten it by 3 to 5 days. If you don't eat it, freeze it.
Okay. All right, because, I had somebody tell me the other day that they were still eating something from Thanksgiving, and I said, oh, please throw that out. We don't want to go there.
Yes.
Because I know from personal experience, we've had several events in our family of people becoming sick with food poisoning. Now, I know the ins and outs of food poisoning is another show, but let's talk just a minute about that, because there is recourse if you go somewhere and you get food poisoning. They can tell.
Yes, they can tell. I'm not exactly sure how you can tell, but you want to call either the emergency room or, and I believe that they probably call the CDC. But if you're elderly or if you're even babies, if you get diarrhea, if you get vomiting, some people will get it the next day, some people get it immediately. It just depends what the pathogen is. So all of that, I guess it's up to the individual. It just depends how sick you got and who you're going to contact. But sometimes can be very detrimental for elderly or somebody that's been on chemo or sick. It is a serious condition. Can become very serious. You can if you're running a fever for certain. Diarrhea is probably your first sign after eating out if you've picked up something, and then vomiting and then fever. So
just kind of know the signs if you see it.
And everybody's different. Somebody may get it the next day. If it's a certain pathogen, you may get it that day, within an hour after you've eaten.
Well, during the holidays, you go to different parties, people's houses, and there's food out on the table, and you don't go in and you don't say, now, how long has this been sitting out?
Right.
You go in and you fix a plate and you eat.
Yes.
So there's just some things we just need to be a little more cautious about during the holidays with our food. So I want to quickly share a story before our time runs out. I know that since you've had the business, I'm sure you've had lots of things you were able to do that you felt really good about. That were kind of a bonus of having this business. But several years ago, a tornado hit where my brother-in-law and sister-in-law live, and the utility workers couldn't get any meals. There was no power. They couldn't get out. The roads were bad. They couldn't get gas in to run ovens and kitchens. And I called and I said, Kenneth, is there anything you can do? And he said, well, the fire truck's not really ready yet, but let's see what we can do. And he went and he found products to cook. He found the meat to cook. He got that fire truck in up there and he fed those utility workers. And a couple of days he left enough food for them to eat off of. And so I just appreciate so much what you're doing and your willingness to come share and just be who you are.
Yes,
I know you've worked hard for it. So.
It is the food business. If you haven't done food business, you might want to think about it, because it is hard work. It's fun work, it's gratifying, but it's also hard work.
And I know your business has expanded. I know y'all do the Auburn ball games now.
Yes, we're subcontracted with Auburn Dining, and that's the outer part of the university. And we did all the home games this year, so that was pretty exciting.
It's wonderful to see your business grow like that. Thank you so much, Julie, for being with us today.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And thank you so much. And thank you to the TV station for letting us do this each week. And thank you for joining us today.